Analog ist digital.
Analog is digital, and vice versa. We plan interfaces for users. My name is Oliver Gerstheimer. Welcome to my HMI Design Masterclass. Today, we are talking about needs and requirements, or knowledge about the customer. Who is the customer? The user, the operator, maybe the person from procurement. We need to meet many needs. But as HMI designers, our main focus is on the operators working at the machine. I've met a lot of people who claim, I know my customer. This is the point where we need to be skeptical about our own knowledge and ask ourselves, how well do we really know our customers? How well can we listen? How much direct contact with customers do we have? Or do we overestimate our knowledge about customer needs? This is the point where we need exact and precise information that is well structured for use in the HMI design process.
HMI Design-Prozess einzubringen. In
usability, we talk about needs and requirements as well as conformity with expectations. The user expects something from us. How can we meet this expectation? This is where we differentiate two areas. One is the analytical area, where we think through various procedures and imagine what they have to deliver. The second area is the mapping and recording of needs, where we use drafts to ask users what they think and whether we are meeting their expectations. We need to ask questions and document answers to clarify needs for the HMI design process.
Von HMIs.
The user, this mysterious person. We want to collect and assign needs. And for this assignment, we need the user and the various user personas. And to map all the different user personas, we need some form of documentation. We need a user profile. I have put up one version of such a profile here. Each user persona is given a name and a face. The persona represents a user group and contains three elements: the task analysis, the context the user is in, and the pain points, which in fact can be love points. Things the user likes to do, or that are very relevant, or things he or she hates, or are a frequent cause of problems. Why use profiles? We have different personas: operators, assistant staff. Every group has different tasks in different contexts. All this information refers to a base or a pool of needs. These needs are contained in the persona template, which you can download in the materials. What is important when working with persona profiles is that we leave the computer, that we are not satisfied with the first version of our profiles. Print them out and keep working on them, improve them, and use them as a knowledge source. Printing them out, discussing them with colleagues and users, and refining them is a key task in good HMI design, and this is what we will do now. When designing HMIs, we talk about so-called use cases, which can be further broken down into user stories. We are just talking about needs, and now we will integrate all this based on a needs analysis that I am working on here. The next step is to create use cases, small process units taken from real-life applications. The list of use cases we work with doesn't have to be complete, but should comprise the most important use cases. Important in this context can be defined by relevance and frequency. Relevant events or actions are those that are very significant. For example, errors or compiling key performance indicators, while frequent events consists of tasks that we repeat many times. Think about using door handles at home. Frequent actions are performed often. Again, it is important to view the use case from the user perspective. A typical workday starts in the morning. Then we have a relevant event, then many recurring frequent events, and maybe another relevant event. That is, in a nutshell, what a use case is about. Remember to focus on what's relevant and frequent, and not get lost in too many use cases. Why do we need context analysis in HMI design? We could start right away at the computer screen and map our use cases and needs and requirements, and create the first designs. Context is very relevant for machines, plants, and business-to-business environments. Sound, noise, lighting. And interestingly, when we talk to users, they typically won't mention this. Now, we could head off and analyze different contexts and ask ourselves, what are the effects of light, the acoustic environment, and so on? Context is defined by the software and hardware components and the interactions we have with the interface, and it becomes concrete in the form of both organizational and physical environments. Light, sound, noise. Can I use audio signals when designing the interface? Or is there ambient noise? We need to compile this knowledge and then use and refine it for each plant, customer, and system context. This analysis comprises the organizational context, the technical context with software and hardware, and the physical context. These three categories help us collect parameters that we can integrate into the HMI design to improve and validate it. Pain points are what we call those aspects and factors that have a negative impact on the entire work environment. Again, there may be factors such as a production building that's too cold. This is a pain point that we can't do anything about as HMI designers. Now, what are aspects of an HMI that are typical pain points? One example is error messages that have to be confirmed frequently during the day. And operators have to cover long distances around the machine or plant just to do this. Other typical pain points of an HMI are dialogue and feedback elements. For example, the classical error message. Because we are talking about systems in a working industrial environment, these messages have to be explicit and unambiguous. They have to stand out, using traffic light color coding. And we have to resolve these pain points with high visibility. Pain points can also be interfering audio signals, feedback in the interface that's not designed precisely enough, and so on. Our job is to take those pain points and turn them into love points. Transform what users used to hate in the HMI into positive experiences, which will make the interaction better and ultimately more efficient. Reducing the distances operators have to cover, saving time, but also making users happy, or improving their experience when we resolve typical pain points. These are positive economic impacts of good HMI design.
Ökonomische Faktoren im HMI Design. Angefangen bei der Analyse.
During analysis, conceptualization, and especially evaluation, we will have ideas, and we have to capture those ideas. And there's a rule for this. We have 60 seconds to capture the idea. It is a small treasure, and we need a safe place for this treasure. That's our idea space. No matter whether you have an idea during evaluation, conceptualization, or analysis, this is where to put it. The idea space at first is like a huge vault, where you simply put your treasure without following any structure or order. The first goal is to create a space where you can quickly place and store ideas. When we have a little more time, we can evaluate and rank the ideas, prioritize them. In this idea space, we have noted down ideas on sticky notes. Or you can simply use idea cards that you pin on a board. After that, you can type them into an Excel sheet, but make sure that there is one digital vault where your ideas go, where we assign categories and numbers and work with ideas. The inspiration game is both analog and digital. We have ideas for the HMI, for coloring, for error messages. Small ideas that we can retrieve when we need them, because that's the thing about ideas. You have ideas when they don't really fit the situation you're in. And that's why documenting ideas is absolutely essential for a good HMI.
Gutes HMI, absolut essentiell. Und damit
That's it for Unit 2. The 6 tips and the templates are again available for download. Now let's take a look. We have persona profiles, we have context analysis, we have an idea space, and my tip is, choose a wall that you pass daily, or a whiteboard, and pin all these facts on it. That way, what you have compiled for your HMI is always there, easily available and ready to use. Of course, you can use a digital version, but remember, this is what moves you, what will make your HMI better, working with this every day.
Wow, ihr schon wieder.
Oh, it's you again. Next week, we'll look at the big picture. And this is the ammunition for it. We'll do sketches and get our hands dirty.